16 years ago. I made a choice. That changed someone's life forever. I just didn't know it yet. Last Tuesday. My phone rang. With a number I didn't recognize. And the woman on the other end said 5 words. That stopped my heart dead. Your daughter needs you now. So here's what nobody ever tells you. About one-night stands. They don't always end when you close the door. Sometimes they come back. 16 years later. With consequences you never saw coming. I'm going to walk you through exactly what happened. The impossible decision I had to make. The secrets that came crashing out. And what I finally learned. About responsibility. Regret. And what it really means. To be a dad. Because this isn't just my story. It's a wake-up call. About the choices we think don't matter. And trust me. You need to hear what happened at that hospital. Because it changed everything. I thought I knew what being human was all about. What the doctors told me 3 days into the transplant will haunt me forever. It was 2008. I was 23. Fresh out of uni. Starting my first proper job in London. I met Laura at a mate's house party. She was stunning. Sharp. Hilarious. We clicked instantly. Spent the night together. And that was supposed to be that. We swapped numbers. But the texts fizzled out. After a week or so. 2 months later. I moved up to Manchester for work. She faded into a memory. Then barely even that. Life moved on. I climbed the career ladder. Met someone new. Fell properly in love. Got married. Fast forward to last week. I'm 39 now. Married 6 years. With a 4-year-old lad at home. My life is completely different. I work in tech. Coach under 10s footy on Saturdays. And I hadn't thought about Laura. In probably a decade. Then my phone rings. During lunch break. Unknown number. I nearly didn't pick up. Looking back now. I wonder how different everything would be. If I'd just let it go to voicemail. The voice was older. But I recognized it instantly. This is Laura. We met in London in 2008. I know this sounds mad. But I need to tell you something. And I need you to just listen. My first thought. She's in some kind of trouble. My second thought. Hang up. But something in her voice. Desperate, broken. Made me stay on the line. My heart was already racing. Sweat on my palms. Something told me. My whole world was about to flip. You have a daughter. Her name is Lily. She's 15. Almost 16. The world stopped. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. A daughter? For 15 years. My mind scrambling. Doing the maths. Trying to make it add up. Then she said the words. That made my blood run cold. And she has leukemia. I want to say I handled it with grace. I didn't. I went numb. A daughter I never knew existed. Was dying. The maths clicked. Laura had been pregnant. When we stopped talking. She never told me. For 16 years. I had a child in this world. And I had no clue. And now she was sick. Possibly dying. She kept going. Voice cracking with every word. I know you've got every right to be furious. I know you probably hate me right now. I made a choice not to tell you. I was scared. I was young. Honestly, I didn't think you'd want anything to do with it. After one night, I raised her on my own. She's an amazing kid. The best thing that ever happened to me. But 3 months ago, she was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. We've tried everything. 6 rounds of chemo. Clinical trials. Experimental drugs. Nothing's working like we hoped. She needs a bone marrow transplant. And I'm not a match. Her best chance. Her only real chance. Is a biological parent. If you've ever had news that shattered your entire reality, you know exactly how I felt. Hands shaking. Vision blurring. This couldn't be real. Here's the thing about bone marrow matches. Most people don't understand. Your best shot is a sibling. About 75% chance. Then parents. Around 50%. Then extended family. Odds drop fast. After that, you're searching a registry of millions. Hoping for a 1 in 100,000 miracle. The odds are brutal. Laura tested. Not compatible. Lily has no siblings. Laura's parents weren't matches. Aunts, uncles, cousins. Nobody. That left one option. Me. A stranger. A ghost from 16 years ago. Her only hope. I asked the first thing that came into my head. Voice barely a whisper. Does she know about me? Laura paused. I could hear her crying now. Really crying. She knows I reached out to her biological dad. She doesn't know your name yet. Doesn't know anything about you. I wanted to see if you'd even be willing. Before I gave her any hope. Because if you say no. If you walk away. I don't know if she'll survive. The disappointment. On top of everything else. Willing. That word sat like a stone in my chest. Was I willing to get tested? Yes. Obviously. I'm not a monster. But was I willing to step into the life of a teenager who'd existed without me for 16 years? Was I willing to explain to my wife that I have a daughter I never knew about? Was I willing to potentially upend everything for a kid I'd never met? And the darker question I didn't want to face. What if I wasn't a match either? What if I got her hopes up? Then failed her. Just like everyone else. I told Laura I needed 24 hours. She went silent for a long moment. Then said something that broke me. Lily might not have 24 hours to waste. But I understand. This is a lot. Just, please think about it. That night, I sat my wife down. And told her everything. Every detail. Every secret. And this is where I got lucky. She didn't freak out. She cried, yes. Asked questions, loads. How could I not know? Why didn't Laura tell me? What does this mean for us? But her bottom line was simple. A child needs help. We figure out the rest later. The next day, I called Laura back. And agreed to get tested. She gave me the hospital details. I went in that afternoon. Cheek swab. Sent to the lab. Results in about a week. Maybe less if rushed. Those were the longest 7 days of my life. Longer than waiting for my wedding. Longer than waiting for my son to be born. Because this time, I was waiting to find out if I could save a life I didn't even know existed. I couldn't stop thinking about Lily. What did she look like? Did she have my eyes? My nose? My terrible sense of humor? What were her favorite things? What music did she love? What made her laugh? What were her dreams? Was she scared? Of course she was scared. She was 15 with cancer. Waiting to see if a stranger, her biological father who vanished before she was even born, would save her life. I couldn't eat. Food tasted like cardboard. Couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw a faceless girl in a hospital bed, dying. Every time I looked at my son, I thought about a daughter I'd never held, never tucked in, never watched grow up. The guilt was eating me alive. The call came on day 6. I was in a meeting when my phone buzzed. The hospital. I excused myself. Walked into the corridor. Heart pounding so hard, I thought it might crack my ribs. The doctor's voice, calm, professional. "Mr. Thompson, we have your results." I held my breath. "You're a match. Not just any match. A near-perfect one. 10 out of 10 markers. This is incredibly fortunate. Almost miraculous." I should have felt relief. Should have felt joy. But all I felt was terror. Because being a match meant this was real. This was happening. I was about to meet a daughter I never knew I had. And I was going to let them take marrow from my bones to try to save her. Bone marrow donation isn't like giving blood. It's not simple. Not easy. It's surgery. They either drill into your hip bone under general anesthetic and suck the marrow out, or they give you injections for days to boost your stem cells, then hook you to a machine that filters your blood for hours. Either way, it's painful, exhausting. No guarantee it'll work. I didn't hesitate. I told them to schedule whatever needed doing. But I also asked if I could meet Lily first. I needed to see her. Needed to know who I was doing this for. Laura agreed. Though she warned me. She's weak. Exhausted from treatment. Might not talk much. And she's angry. At me, at the world. At you. She's a teenager with cancer. And abandonment issues. Just, be prepared. And what happened? When I walked into that hospital room. Will break your heart. And put it back together again. We met 3 days before the procedure. I walked down that sterile white corridor. Legs like lead. Heart hammering. Room 412. I stood outside the door. For a full minute. Trying to find the courage to knock. Finally. I did. Laura opened it. She looked older. Tired. Like she'd aged 20 years in 3 months. Weak smile. Stepped aside. I walked in. And saw a girl who looked so much like my mum it was eerie. My nose. My hands. The same dimple on her left cheek. I see in the mirror every day. But she had Laura's smile. And these fierce eyes. She was tiny in that hospital bed. Purple beanie covering the hair chemo stole. Hooked to IVs. Skin pale and paper thin. Arms bruised from endless needles. But she looked straight at me. With those intense eyes and said. "So you're the bloke who got my mum pregnant." And then vanished. Not, "Hi. Not, nice to meet you." Pure, unfiltered anger. And honestly, I deserved every bit of it. I laughed. Because I didn't know what else to do. It was either laugh. Or cry. Yeah. I'm the bloke. She stared at me for ages. Sizing me up. Deciding if I was worth her time. Then. Sit down. You look like you're about to faint. I sat. We talked for about an hour. Felt like 5 minutes. And 5 years. At the same time. She asked about my life. My job. My hobbies. I asked about school. Her mates. What she loved doing before she got ill. She told me she played netball. Was team captain before diagnosis. Loved reading fantasy books. Over 200 so far. Wanted to study marine biology. Obsessed with the ocean since she was 7. Showed me drawings she'd done. Incredible sketches of jellyfish, octopuses, sharks. She was talented. Really talented. Told me about her best mate Zoe. Who visited every day. And smuggled in her favorite snacks. About her favorite teacher. Who still sent assignments. So she wouldn't fall behind. She was smart. Funny. Sarcastic in that teenage way. And braver than I'd ever been. Then she went quiet. Really quiet. And asked the question. I'd been dreading. Why didn't you want me? My heart shattered. Lily. I didn't know about you. Your mum never told me. If I'd known. I would have been there. She looked at me. Like she was deciding. Whether to believe me. Mum said you only hooked up once. That you didn't care about her. Why would you care about me? I took a deep breath. Because you're my daughter. And I'm so sorry I wasn't there. I'm sorry for every birthday I missed. Every school play. Every netball match. I can't change the past. But I'm here now. Before I left. She said something. I'll never forget. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Eyes locked on mine. I'm not expecting you to be my dad. I just need you to help me live. Long enough. To figure out who I want to be. That broke me. I held it together. Until I reached the car. Then I cried harder. Than I had in years. Sat in the car park. Gripping the wheel. Sobbing like a kid. Whole body shaking. If you've ever felt regret. So deep it physically hurts. Drop a comment below. Because I need you to know. You're not alone. The donation happened 4 days ago. They went with the stem cell collection. 5 days of injections. Something called filgrastim. Made my bones ache like the worst flu ever. Like someone scraping inside my skeleton. With sandpaper. Lower back on fire. Could barely walk. But I didn't complain. How could I? Lily was down the hall. Fighting for her life. Collection day. Sat in a chair for 5 hours. While a machine filtered my blood. One arm in, one arm out. Uncomfortable. Exhausting. Arms went numb. Cold, then hot, then cold again. Dizzy. Nauseous. But every time I wanted to moan. I thought of Lily fighting. And I shut up. They transplanted the cells into her. The next day. I was there when they wheeled her in. She looked so small. So fragile. Gave me a weak thumbs up. I smiled. Even though I was terrified. The procedure itself. Just a few hours. Cells went in through and 4. Simple as that. But the real battle. Comes after. Her body has to accept them. They have to settle in her marrow. Start making healthy blood cells. Takes weeks. Sometimes months. To know if it worked. And here's what they don't tell you. About bone marrow transplants. The first few weeks are hell. Her immune system. Completely wiped out by chemo. To make space for the new cells. She's vulnerable to everything. Every infection, every virus, every bug. Complete isolation. No visitors except Laura and me. Masks, gowns, gloves. No fresh fruit or veg. Bacteria risk. No flowers. Can't go outside. Now we wait. Survival rates for her type of leukemia, with a matched transplant, are around 60 to 70%. Not a guarantee, but a real fighting chance. Every day feels like a year. I visit every afternoon after work. Sometimes we talk. Sometimes we just sit. While she sleeps. Sometimes we watch her favorite shows. She's got me hooked on some anime I can't even pronounce. I'm learning who she is. Piece by piece. Here's what I've learned through all this. Biology doesn't make you a parent. But it does make you responsible. I wasn't there for her first steps. Her first day at school. Her first heartbreak. Her first netball goal. Her first everything. I can't get those years back. That guilt sits on my chest. Every single day. Like a weight I can't lift. But I can be here now. I can give her a chance at a future. My wife and I have talked about what comes next. If Lily survives this. And I'm praying with everything I've got. That she does. We want to be part of her life. In whatever way makes sense for her. Maybe occasional visits. Maybe holidays together. Maybe she wants nothing to do with us. We'll follow her lead. I've also learned that one-night stands aren't just about one night. Actions have consequences. And sometimes those consequences are a human being who deserves better than to be an accident you forgot about. I'm not saying Laura should have told me 16 years ago. Though part of me wishes she had. I'm saying I should have been someone worth telling. I should have been more careful. More responsible. More human. 3 days ago. Something happened that changed everything. Lily's white blood cell count started to rise. Just a little. But enough that the doctors got excited. Yesterday they confirmed. The transplant is taking. Her body's accepting the cells. The new marrow is working. She's not out of the woods yet. Not by a long way. Still weeks of recovery. Still risks. Graft versus host disease. Infection. Relapse. Complications we can't predict. But for the first time in months, there's real hope. When the doctor told us, Laura collapsed into a chair and cried. Not sad tears. Relief. Pure, overwhelming relief. Lily just smiled and said, "Told you I was tough." Then she looked at me and said, "Thanks, stranger." I told her she could call me by my name. She said, "Maybe someday." Last night, sitting by her bed, she asked me something that gutted me. "Do you wish I didn't exist?" The question hung there. Like poison. I didn't hesitate. No. Not for a second. I wish I'd known about you sooner. I wish I could have been there for you. But I don't wish you didn't exist. You're incredible, Lily. Brave. Smart. Funny. And you've got this whole amazing life ahead of you. She was quiet for a moment. Then. I used to be angry I didn't have a dad. All my mates had dads. Who came to their games. Took them to father-daughter things. Mum did her best. But it wasn't the same. I used to imagine what you were like. Tall or short. Smart or funny. Whether you'd like me. Then I got sick. And I stopped caring. But now you're here. And it's weird. And complicated. I told her weird and complicated was fine with me. If you're watching this, and you've made choices you regret, choices that haunt you, at 3 a.m. when you can't sleep, I need you to hear this. You can't change the past. Can't undo what's done. But you can show up today. You can be better right now. You can face the consequences. With courage. Instead of running. Because somewhere out there, someone might need you. More than you know. If this story moved you. If it made you think twice. About your own choices. Hit that like button. Subscribe. Because I'll keep sharing real stories. That matter. Stories that make you uncomfortable. Stories that make you think. Share this with someone. Who needs to hear it today? Comment below. Tell me about a time. You had to face something. You'd been running from. Let's build a community. Of people who aren't afraid. To be real. To be vulnerable. To be human. Lily just texted me. Asking if I can bring her. Favorite coffee tomorrow. Caramel macchiato. With extra caramel. I said yes. Obviously. It's the little things that matter now. Every day she's here. Is a victory. Every smile. Every laugh. Every complaint about hospital food. Every eye roll when I make a bad joke. Is a gift. I didn't know I was missing. To everyone watching. Remember this. Your choices matter. Your actions have weight. And sometimes being a good person means showing up. When it's hard. When it's scary. When you have every excuse to run. Because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to figure out what it means to be human. And sometimes that means saving a life you didn't know you helped create. Sometimes it means becoming a father 16 years too late. Sometimes it means getting a second chance you don't deserve. And if you get that chance, you take it. You show up. You do the work. Because that's what real love looks like.